of the person arrested after a body was found in a burning home in Williston. 58-year-old Robert Head is charged with homicide and arson. Officials say it happened on Northeast 4th Street. A woman who identified herself as a family member spoke to TV20. She said Head tried to pour gasoline on the victim's daughter, who was able to get away. Officials believe this was a case of domestic violence. Responders couldn't remove the body until an ambulance arrived.
Genevether Head, affectionately called Netta, was an amazing mother, daughter, sister, and friend. Known for her quiet and somewhat shy demeanor, she would open up and embrace those around her once she felt comfortable. Netta's thoughtfulness, support, and love were not only evident in her personal relationships but also in her professional life as a mental health technician at UF Health Shands Hospital. Her compassion and dedication shone through in her work, helping others navigate their struggles. However, it was her role as a mother that truly captured her heart. She provided unwavering support and care for her daughter, even into her adult years. When Netta married 58-year-old Robert Head in September of 2015, she welcomed her daughter into their home, offering her a place of refuge and love. Tragically, the bliss and love that initially motivated Netta to marry Robert had fizzled out over the years, eroded by his temper and violent tendencies. Tragically, on July 25, 2024, their union and Netta's life came to a brutal and heinous end over a petty argument about air conditioning. When Netta refused to lower the temperature on the AC, Robert reacted with unimaginable cruelty. He doused her with a pot full of gasoline and then set her on fire. As if that wasn't monstrous enough, he attempted to do the same to her daughter. However, even while engulfed in flames, Netta intervened, allowing her daughter to flee. This gruesome tragedy not only underscores the dangers of domestic violence but also lays bare the depraved mind of a man capable of such horrific cruelty. Welcome to the American Crime, Femicide channel. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for future uploads. Robert and Netta had been married since 2015, a relationship that, to the outside world, may have seemed ordinary. However, beneath the surface, it was fraught with possessiveness, control, and an escalating pattern of abuse. The culmination of this toxic relationship came on a tragic night, sparked by a heated argument. What transpired was not just a crime of passion but a deliberate and calculated act of violence that revealed the depth of Robert's depravity. According to reports, the argument escalated to a point where Robert, in a fit of rage and desperation, decided to end not only Netta's life but also his own. His actions were premeditated and malicious. He took a pot filled with gasoline and, in an act of unimaginable cruelty, doused Netta in the face. As he stood over her, soaked in gasoline, he coldly declared, "If we're going out together. I told you I ain't leaving you." This statement encapsulates the twisted mindset of a man who saw his wife not as a partner but as a possession, someone whose life he felt entitled to take when things did not go his way. The horror did not end there. With Netta covered in gasoline, Robert set a piece of paper on fire and threw it towards her, igniting the flammable liquid. The explosion that followed engulfed Netta and the home in flames, sealing her fate in a moment of pure terror and pain. Her daughter, Chiquaria, who lived with them, narrowly escaped the inferno, sustaining injuries in the process. The fire not only claimed Netta's life but also left a physical and emotional scar on Chiquaria that will take a lifetime to heal.
Many are still in shock this evening. Family members of the victim found in a house fire in Williston say they're recovering one day at a time. TV20's Misty Webb tells us how one family member is remembering the victim.
This was like a shocker, you would never think something like this happened to your family.
Family and friends visited the scene after a body was found. 58-year-old Robert Head is charged with homicide and arson. Officials say it happened on Northeast 4th Avenue. Residents tell me they've had incidents in the past, but it's a people problem, not a neighborhood problem.
What happened yesterday evening really proved the togetherness, how everyone just came together and,
People who told me they were related to the victim identified her as Genevether Hills. Officials confirm a heated argument between Head and Genevether led to him throwing a pot filled with gas at her. He then threw a lit piece of paper at her.
She was very blunt and she was very caring and she supported. It's very rare that she'll say no to you if you came to ask her for something. She was very supportive.
Family members also say they heard Head try to pour gasoline on the victim's daughter as well, who they identify as Shakara Hills. James Bradshaw says she ran out before getting injured. He says Shakara has since had a lot of support from the family.
It's a process, it's for all of us, but that was her mom, her best friend, her everything. So it's just like her role is kind of gone.
Other family members say she is struggling mentally, but taking the recovery process one day at a time.
She's having a hard time, but she's okay. She got a lot of support, She got a lot of uncles. She got a grandma.
Officials believe this was a case of domestic violence. Head is being held in Levy County Jail on no bond.
The aftermath of this violent act painted a grim picture of Robert's character. His criminal record, spanning decades, revealed a man with a consistent pattern of violent and unlawful behavior. In the 1980s, he was convicted of assaulting a child, a crime that alone speaks volumes about his capacity for cruelty. In the 1990s, he was arrested for possession of a weapon by a convicted felon, demonstrating a disregard for the law and a tendency towards violence. In 2001, he faced charges of domestic battery, yet another indication of his abusive tendencies. Despite these red flags, Robert continued to live among the community, ultimately leading to the tragic events of that night. On the night of the incident, after committing this gruesome act, Robert did not stay to face the consequences. Instead, he fled the scene, armed with a machete, reportedly contemplating suicide. This act of fleeing, rather than facing the consequences of his actions, further underscores his cowardice and lack of remorse. Hiding behind a dog kennel, armed and dangerous, he was eventually apprehended by law enforcement. His initial plan to possibly end his life after committing such a heinous crime speaks to the depth of his depraved mind, unable to confront the reality of his actions, yet unwilling to face the justice system. The impact of this tragedy extends far beyond the immediate loss of Netta's life. For her daughter, the trauma of that night is both physical and psychological. She not only witnessed her mother being horrifically murdered but also narrowly escaped death herself. The psychological scars of this event will undoubtedly haunt her for years to come. The community of Williston, too, is left grappling with the loss of a beloved member. Netta was described by her nephew, Jamel Bradshaw, as a caring and supportive woman who rarely said no to anyone in need. Her colleagues at Health Shands Hospital, where she worked, echoed these sentiments, highlighting her kindness and dedication to her profession. In the wake of this tragedy, the community has come together to support Chiquaria and the rest of Netta's family. The outpouring of support is a testament to the positive impact Netta had on those around her. However, no amount of support can fully erase the horror of that night or the pain felt by those who loved her. The community's grief is compounded by the senseless nature of the crime, an act of violence that was both preventable and devastatingly final. The legal system has moved swiftly to ensure that Robert faces the consequences of his actions. He has been charged with homicide and arson and is being held in the Levy County Jail without bond. During his first court appearance, the judge cited his extensive criminal history and the severity of his current charges as reasons for denying bail. This decision reflects a commitment to protecting the community from further harm and ensuring that justice is served. The court's actions are a crucial step in the legal process, but they also highlight the failures in the system that allowed a repeat offender like Robert to remain free and continue to pose a danger to others.
We are learning more on the criminal background of the man arrested for homicide and arson in Williston last week.
That based on your past and present patterns of behavior, including that you have been to prison back in the 80s for lewd and serious assault upon a child. There's been a possession of a weapon by a convicted felon.
Well, the judge continues to list 58-year-old Robert Head's criminal history during his first court appearance over video on Friday. Now, based on these past offenses, the judge ordered Head remain without bond in the Levy County Jail.
As we reflect on this tragedy, it serves as a powerful reminder of the destructive nature of domestic violence. The signs of abuse, control, possessiveness, and a history of violence were all present in Robert's past. Yet, despite these warning signs, the system failed to prevent him from committing this ultimate act of violence. It is a stark reminder of the importance of recognizing the signs of abusive relationships and taking action to prevent such tragedies. Society must do more to protect victims of domestic violence and hold abusers accountable before they can cause irreparable harm. In conclusion, the murder of Netta by her husband is a heartbreaking and sobering example of the consequences of unchecked anger and violence. It is a tragedy that has left a family devastated and a community mourning. As we remember Netta and support her family, let us also work towards a future where such acts of violence are no longer a reality. This case should serve as a catalyst for change, a call to action for better laws, more support for victims, and a deeper understanding of the dangers of domestic violence. May Genevether Head rest in peace, and may her family find the strength to heal and move forward, knowing that their loss was not in vain.